Welcome to the EmpowerHer Play podcast. Tonight we're doing something very, very different. We're in the heart of Poplar at Poplar Union, which is a health and arts centre. They welcome diverse communities, and tonight we are exhibiting our Women in Sports Heritage exhibition. We have some fantastic guests coming over, and we hope that you enjoy the episodes. Please don't forget to like and share and subscribe, and also give us some feedback. Welcome to the EmpowerHer Play podcast. My name is Yashmin, this is Shafia, and this is Salma. And today we are at Poplar Union with a live audience. And we have a very special guest, Zainab Alema, who is a rugby player, the first Muslim hijabi rugby player in the Premiership. Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome.
So tell us a little bit about your inspirational journey. I've been a keen admirer of you for a long, long time. We've worked together in the same landscape. So tell us a little bit about how you started rugby, especially rugby, because it's not a sport that we would normally go into, and what inspired you to carry on and get into playing rugby.
Firstly, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. And so rugby, I'll take you back to 14-year-old Zainab. So I first picked up a rugby ball when I was 14 at school. My PE teacher was an absolute rugby fanatic. Wow. I think she coached outside of school as well. And she just brought some balls in one day during PE session. She was like, right, girls, we're going to do rugby today. And I kid you not, I was the only one out of all my peers that was buzzing to play. The rest of the girls are like, oh no, miss, I don't want to play rugby. I don't want to get on the floor.
Was you quite quick at, was you sporty anyway? Was this just another add-on sport?
Yeah, I loved sports day. Was like my favourite day in the calendar. I used to do
most of us hide, isn't it?
No, man, we used to run to it.
Oh, did you? Okay, most of us hid.
My favourite one was athletics.
Yeah.
I used to do the relay, and I used to be third leg, so you go around the bend.
Yeah.
And I loved sports in general. But when I was introduced to rugby, I just thought, where's this sport been all my life? Just holding onto a rugby ball, running through people, because it's quite physical sport.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what I love about the game. I think if it was just touch or it wasn't physical, I don't think I would stay in the sport.
But was you thinking about what your parents are going to say, and is it a sport for me as a Muslim girl to be playing rugby? It's quite physical, like you said, you get challenged, you get tackled. What did you go home and say to your parents?
Well, to be honest with you, my mum, typical mother, was like,
why rugby?
Why? I don't want you to get any broken bones, I want you to get hurt, which is, I think, is a typical motherly response. My dad, on the other hand, he was just like, why do you want to play rugby? Rugby is a man's sport. Rugby is an elitist sport. Those are the two things that I remember vividly him saying. But I don't blame him, because actually when I look back at it, he didn't really see many. I don't think he even knew women play rugby, first of all. And then to think his Muslim daughter wanted to play rugby, he was just thinking, where did this come from?
But even the men's game isn't very diversified. It's very white, like you say, elite sport. Middle class play rugby, right? It's at private schools. It's not the public schools that play.
The opportunity is not always there, is
Absolutely, yeah. So I think, to be honest with you, I always say to people, if my PE teacher didn't introduce me to rugby, where would a black Muslim woman like myself find it? I grew up in a council estate as well, and a lot of council estates, you have basketball courts, you have boys and girls holding footballs, but rugby, even to this day, you will never see a young kid from a council estate holding a rugby ball. You would rarely see it. So I think you're right. I think it wasn't like traditional sports that you would find Muslims playing. But I think for me, I just had a lot of love and passion for it, and I pursued it. And I think now my dad tells everybody I play rugby. Yeah. It's in all the family group chats and everything.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people ask me, what's your proudest achievement? I think it's being able to persuade my dad and convince him and change his perception that actually women can play rugby. And I think now he tells everyone that to play it. So,
How did you continue after your PE teachers brought it in? I'm guessing that was short-lived anyway.
Oh, really short-lived, yeah. But I did A-level in physical education. That's how I reconnected with rugby. So when I was 17, I did that course, and I joined my first rugby club in Ealing, and that was my first sort of door into the rugby community. But I really struggled, let's be honest, especially when I went to university. I knew I wanted to pick up rugby at university, but I was so scared, because I thought, oh my God, coming to university, I did the children's nursing. That was a degree I studied at university. But going to the rugby team, I put it off for a semester, because I was like, what would people think? And the culture of rugby is so different to what I'm used to, the drinking culture, just the kit, wear shorts and all that. There were so many things that I thought, how do I fit into this this community? So I really, really struggled. And then, you know, looking different when I step on the pitch, like I looked visibly different from my teammates, and I didn't drink alcohol. So I always used to struggle, like how do I bond with my teammates when I'm not attending the socials or, you know, going to the bar.
How did they welcome you? Because I remember my experience after leaving school and trying to find somewhere to play sports, and I went to a netball club, and I just felt like they weren't saying it outwardly, but you can tell they were feeling something not very welcoming towards me. So how did they welcome you, and how did you fit in?
To be honest with you, I think rugby is a bit different, if I'm honest, especially the women's game. Like,
They just tackle you that bit.
I feel like if you're good, nobody cares about anything else. Like, if you're a good player and you can be, for me, I've always said, and it sounds very weird, but I've always said there's a lot of similarities between rugby and Islam. And people would be like, well, like, where are you going with that? And I say it because, you know, look, in Islam, you have different Muslims from different walks of life, coming together to worship Allah. Even if you go to somewhere like Hajj, you see so many different people, Muslims, coming together. Respect is a big thing in Islam. You know, discipline is a big thing in Islam. Like being able to pray 5 times a day, fast during the month of Ramadan, it all requires discipline. And the same with rugby. Like, you're coming together. I've got people in my team who, if it wasn't for rugby, there's no way our paths would have crossed. Different backgrounds, different cultures coming together. We're all playing the game for that, you know, because of the passion of it. Respect is a big thing. Respect and discipline are huge values in rugby. And I just see there's a lot of connect, and that's how I feel like maybe it was so easy for me to naturally like enjoy and love rugby, because of the similarity in terms of values with Islam.
How often do you do training?
So I play in the championship, Rich and Women. We train twice a week. We play on the weekends, and then with the Premiership with Leicester Tigers, we train a bit more frequently, about 3 times a week, and then play on the weekends as well. So as you mentioned in your introduction, so last year October, I made my debut in the Premiership, being the first hijabi Muslim.
Can we have a round of applause, please?
Thank you. And
That's amazing.
That was for Leicester Tigers, and I think it was so apt because it was always been my dream to play high level rugby, but I think it's part of the journey because I'm a mother of 3 as well. I've got 3 kids.
I was going to go on to that because you're a mum of 3. You were a neonatal nurse. Obviously now you're playing rugby full time. So how did that all come together? Obviously you're married as well. So what did your husband think of it? Yeah. To be honest with you, in terms, because a lot of people ask me that, and I think I've got a supportive family. Before I got married, I was actually playing rugby before I met my husband, and I honestly said to him, look, rugby comes first, she will come second.
But rugby's a big part of my life. And I think it's really important to share your passions with your spouse, and let them know that this is a thing that I'm really into. So I put it on the table from the get-go. I said, look, rugby's a big part of my life, and, you know, it's something I've been playing for a while, and I really enjoy it. Like, what do you think? Would you be able to support me? What do you think about that? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, okay, I don't need to hear anything else. It's a done deal. So I think, he's very supportive. My family I'm one of 6 girls as well. My children, so I think with having kids, every time I had a child, I was always like, I need to get back on the pitch, because I think for me, rugby was that thing for me. And I felt like as a mother, sometimes it can be really consuming, you know, feeding, changing nappies, everything revolves around this being. And I felt like sometimes I would wake up and be like, I don't even know who I am.
That's why the MSA was actually started, because I think a lot of us feel we're someone's daughter before we get married, then we're someone's wife, then we're someone's mum, and we forget our real identity. And that, like MSA and the sports that we offer, it was just that escapism for a couple of hours a week, just to find yourself again and reconnect with people around you that you ordinarily would have spoken to anyway, but this is a different environment where you're coming together. Like, sports unites a lot of people from different backgrounds, and you don't necessarily meet with them outside of that environment. So that's what MSA was initially started for, just to get women back into playing for themselves and doing something for themselves. And
I totally get that, and on so many levels. I remember when I had my last child, she is now 5, but when she was 8 weeks old, 2 months, I'd given birth to her, and I was in that sort of mindset, I don't know who I am anymore. I want to sort of get that love of rugby back again. And I remember turning up at county trial. So this is like the best of the best rugby players in the county fighting to play for the county, represent county. And I turn up in my baby in a car seat. in the changing room, you can see like some of the girls are like, whose baby is that? Why is there a baby in the changing room? Because it's odd, you know, when the rugby trials and there's a baby in the changing room. But I didn't care. I just wanted to go and, you know, sort of, I think I wanted to prove to myself that, like, I can do everything. Or I just wanted to get that feeling of myself again. I was rubbish. Like, I couldn't even do the warm-up. That's how, 8 weeks postpartum. I was pushing it, do you know what I mean? So in hindsight, I was like, probably wasn't ready. I think maybe my uterus probably wasn't even intact by then. But I did it. And I think I'm looking back on it, although I think I was too early, but I'm happy I did, because it made me realise, like, this is the level I need to get to if I want to get back playing for county. But I said, right, I'm going to trial again next year, and I did, and I managed to get in. And they were like, you're a totally different person, like, you know, everything. So I feel like it was a special moment for me, because I knew when I stepped on the pitch, you know, the previous year, I just wasn't ready, my body wasn't ready. But when I did it again, like, you know, I would definitely like impress the coaches, and they're like, you're definitely in. You're one of the like top names
fantastic.
in the squad. So,
well done.
Were you on a special diet, or you're kind of
in terms of like the sports?
Training, with the sport?
So I think for us is like with rugby. Lucky for me, I'm the position I play loose head prop. And in that position...
Can you explain that?
Yeah.
I was going to say, what does that
so I'm a forward. So you have forwards and backs. Okay. So I'm a forward. And but the forward that I am, they're quite specialist. So in the scrum, have you ever seen like them coming together in the scrum?
Yeah. I don't understand how a tackle is identified in rugby. They all look like tackles.
Oh,
when does the referee blow?
I mean, if it's illegal, like if it's high, high.
Oh, so there are some rules.
Oh, there I know it must look crazy to the outside eye, like when you're watching, but there are a lot of rules.
We went to watch wheelchair rugby.
Oh, that is another level.
It was another level because
that was
they just push
brutal.
each other off.
That is brutal.
That was fascinating though.
And the other thing is quite scary when they're all on top of you as well, isn't that?
Yeah. Well, we're always on top of each other to play in rugby. Different, but you're talking about diet, like, so I have to probably be a bit of an allowance in terms that I can. Protein is a big thing, like eating a lot of like meat and things like that, carbs, because you have to be like the biggest and strongest on the pitch in my position. So you got to eat, you know. And sometimes I struggle with that. I should probably said I probably need to eat more and not eat enough.
I think it's quite different to other sports, isn't it? Yeah,
exactly. But my position specifically, you do like eat, but then you have to make sure you're training, you're in the gym all the time, kind of thing.
Fantastic.
So there's a lot of I guess routines that you have when you're playing elite sport.
So
go on, I was just going to say, so what does the landscape look like now? Like you were talking about 14-year-old Zainab wanting to, you know, being exposed to rugby. But if someone now, one of the kids in this room, wants to play rugby, are there women's spaces firstly, and what do those women's spaces look like? So
first of all, if anyone wanted to get to rugby, like young girl, I would say check out your local rugby club. So there's usually online, if you type rugby club near me, if you put your postcode in it will show you all the clubs near you, and you have to put specifically that you want girls or women's section, women's teams, and they will pop up. I think are there lots now?
Barking Rugby has it.
Okay, for the girls.
Yeah, I remember we went years ago.
And
they've got a girls team now.
They've got a girls team.
We were trying to fight for that.
We were trying to get more Muslim girls there, but we still haven't succeeded in that yet.
Don't worry, inshallah, will happen.
Okay, so there are more girls teams.
There are girls teams, but to be honest with you, it's still a new landscape for even the rugby clubs. So people come to me often and be like, how can we be more inclusive to Muslim women? How can we make it more comfortable for them? So because I'm so, I guess, out there and I've been playing for a while, people come to me for that sort of advice. Like I had a message just the other day saying, you know, we've got 2 hijabi girls that's joined our team. What can we do to make them more comfortable? And they couldn't, I guess they almost see me as like, I don't know, information.
Well, you're a role model, isn't it?
And I love that. I do, because when I started playing, I didn't have anyone to ask. You know, I was doing all research by myself and all that kind of stuff. So I think it is changing, which is fantastic. I love that.
But what about schools? Because I think a lot of schools do rugby for boys, but they don't have it for the girls, do they?
Yeah, there is a big thing that like the England rugby are trying to get more girls involved in rugby. So schools, I think, is the best. Like that's where I got involved. So I think it's a great way to catch them after school clubs. And I think there's something to be said about going to the communities rather than getting them to come to you.
Exactly.
Because you're all comfortable in your own environment. I think it's better for coaches and rugby individuals to come into the environment to be like, okay, this is a rugby ball, let me teach how to play, etc. And then when they feel comfortable, maybe invite them to the club. Because I think if you do it that way, it's a bit easier rather than just saying, oh, we're inclusive, come. But when we come, what are we going to expect or what are we going to find, etc.
Is tag rugby and touch rugby a good way to introduce?
I think it is. There's actually a new version called T1 Rugby, which is non-contact. So I think there are different variations of rugby. Oh, that's right up your street. You said you didn't like people. Yeah. But that's the thing that I love about rugby is because you can still be involved if you don't like the contact element. Like for me, I love the contact element, but some people don't. So you can still...
Did you never play bulldog in the playground where you have to dodge everyone?
Just hide.
Really?
Yeah,
favourite game.
Yeah, we should get you on the rugby team.
My knee, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, so
I'm happy with solo sports, but anything that's contact.
Team sports are amazing.
Like the adrenaline when you go and score and the team's chatting.
I remember playing football once, and then I had bruises on my legs, and that was it. Never played ever again.
I can't play.
I was going to ask you about your injuries because obviously in men's rugby they get a lot of broken noses, cauliflower ears, and all that. Have you had any injuries?
Alhamdulillah, no, I haven't.
Really?
I mean, I've had the odd dislocated fingers and all that stuff, but that's pretty common. But apart from that, I haven't had any major injuries. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, so I would like to keep that going.
Yes.
So, like I said, you're a big role model within the Muslim sports landscape. Big role model for me as well. You're more into advocacy now. You're starting up some new groups for Muslim women to get in contact with you. Do you want to talk to us about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I recently started this support group called Muslimah Rugby, and it's been something that I've been wanting to do for such a long time. I think of it as like a support group. It's currently a WhatsApp group chat at the moment, and I honestly thought at one point I thought I was the only Muslim rugby player in the world because that's how isolated and lonely I felt. But I thought I don't want any other girls to feel like that. Yeah. So I thought, let me start a support group. I'll see if I can reach out to any clubs. If you have any Muslim girls at your club, send them to me. I want you to know you're not alone. Right. So I thought I was only going to get 5. At the moment, we've got about 25 girls, alhamdulillah, in the group chat. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, I thought it was only a couple of us.
Which level are they playing?
Some of them are playing amateur level. Some of them are ex-international players. It's varied. Some of them are not even based in the UK, but in terms of the UK base, we've got at least 10 plus girls that are playing rugby.
So you're not alone.
I'm not alone, and we have a community, and the kind of things I want to generate from that is for us to go and watch each other's games, go on socials together. You know how I told you that, the alcohol thing. We're going to have our own socials, no alcohol. We can just chill and halal in the halal way, and just have that sisterhood off the pitch as well, because I know that's something that I struggled with my teammates. So I think it's a place for them to feel comfortable and do all the rugby things, but in the way that is comfortable for us.
Without having to compromise.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
Yeah. So that's my vision for the group, and hopefully we're going to do our first meet, because a lot of us haven't met each other before. So I would love to meet us. Get us to meet together, and I think hopefully inshallah that would be good.
Can you imagine a room full of
rugby? You guys should come. You guys should come when I get the dates together. Definitely.
You'll tackle Shafs first.
I'll be disappeared then, isn't it?
that's so lovely.
So football doesn't have alcohol within the stands, and I know rugby still has alcohol in the stands. Is rugby doing anything to sort of try and make it more inclusive?
To be honest with you, in that sort of area, I'm not too sure. I think that is so embedded with the rugby culture. But there are some people who, they drink 0.0% alcohol drinks, but it's probably got a 0.1% inside. So in terms of that, I feel like there's probably a bit more that can be done, but it's so embedded in the culture. I think it's quite difficult. But I would say if you go to a women's game, it's probably less because they're going with their kids and stuff like that. So you're going to have more soft drinks available. But in terms of an out-and-out men's rugby game, you're going to get alcohol there. Yeah.
Do you get a lot of diversity in the audience as well, the people who come to watch rugby? Or do you find... Because even football matches, they're not... Some matches... You don't see much diversity.
I feel like when I go to games, you can pick out the fans that are non-white, because there's so many. Do you get what I mean? I went to Twickenham Stadium, I think it was about 2 years ago now, and I saw other hijabis there, and I was just so...
You just feel this sort of
I was taken aback.
You feel like going up to them, hugging them.
Oh yeah, I did. I did. I'm like that. If I see you in the rugby space and you're hijabi, I'm gonna come up to you and be like,
You know, all your fans are just going to put it on now, just to catch your attention.
Literally, like, I will go up to you and just ask, like, your name, and I want to get to know you, because it's always a rare moment. And I think there was about 5 or 6 of us that was watching a England international game, and I was like, oh my goodness, and it was amazing. And that's what I want to see. Like, I think if you diversify the fans, it's going to hopefully encourage more people to come and watch.
Exactly.
And with my journey, I'm hoping that I can help in that area as well. So if I get more exposure on the pitch, so more people are going to come and watch me from diverse backgrounds because I'm playing. You know? So, that's one thing I definitely think about sometimes, about the fans being diverse.
And how's rugby doing in terms of men's rugby and women's rugby? Are they getting better with that kind of closing that gap?
Well,
that's always the biggest battle, isn't it?
I mean, I think a lot of my teammates that play in the Premiership have full-time jobs, and they play rugby full-time. So it's like juggling. I don't think we're even as close as, I know football, they're quite advanced, like, but with us, a lot of us will have to have another source of income unless you play like for the international team. But in terms of this year, there's actually a Rugby World Cup for the Women's Rugby World Cup this year, and it's actually in the UK. So there'll be a lot of like marketing around like games and stuff, so you'll see it. So it's a really exciting time for rugby. Women's rugby is growing immensely.
And change is happening.
Yeah, change is happening,
thing,
absolutely. So I'm really excited this year to see all the buzz about the games. So yeah, watch this. It's really exciting.
So what's your future aspirations now? What are you hoping to achieve?
So I've obviously just become the first hijabi woman to play in the Premiership, and inshallah I'll love to be the first hijabi to play for England. That's the goal, inshallah. And I think for me, in my head, I feel like if that happens, or when that happens, inshallah, that will almost like make everything make sense, like the whole advocacy point, the whole representation, everything that I'm wanting to achieve with rugby, I feel like will all come together in that moment. But at the same time, I'm conscious that this journey is important, probably more important than the goal, because, you know, when I said to people, this is my dream, I was a bit scared to put out there, because I'm out there on social media, I tell people this is what I want to do, but I was worried a bit like, oh, what we're going to think. But now I'm just like, I'll just own it, because there's other people who have seen how hard I'm working, and they've come to me and be like, for example, I had a message from somebody, Aussie, like, I've been wanting to do my masters and I've been putting off for a while, but I've seen the way you're working hard at your goal. I've put in my application, I'm going to do my masters. And I thought, that's nothing to do with rugby. You know? It's nothing to do with rugby.
It's just seeing another woman doing it.
Exactly. And that's the kind of impact that I want to create, and to think that that's the impact I'm having, and I'm not even where I want to be. Could you imagine, you know, what's going to happen? And I'm so grateful for rugby. It's given me so much opportunities, even going to the World Cup in France, handing in the match ball to the referee. In France. Can you imagine? France.
Where you're not allowed hijab in sports.
Do you know what I mean? And I come on with my hijab, you know, packed out stadium at probably the biggest stage for rugby, and I'm there, and, you know, hijab and all. I'm probably thinking the French president will probably watching the game. Get this girl off the pitch. But I was in my element, and at that time, I think it was such a big statement to make, you know, and
especially in rugby. Because, like, as much as we try to talk about diversification in the UK, and we're doing quite well compared to other countries, in other countries, when they see a Muslim woman with a hijab going out to give the rugby ball, that must have been like, why is she here for?
What is she here? Honestly. And to be fair, under that, I think that's probably the most biggest post on my Instagram. Like, I've got millions of views on that. Majority of it was amazing, but I did get a lot of hate for that. And I think it's natural that people are not everyone's gonna like what they see when they do that, but I don't care.
I always say, wind them up a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? Exactly.
Amazing.
That's brilliant. What about your kids then? I love kids' stories. They're like, my mum's a rugby player.
My kid, she, do you know what happened? Okay, so last year, sports day. Yeah, my kids had.
You
sports
didn't go
day.
and do the mom's race,
did
you?
I did. But the thing is, I went. I didn't know it was going to happen, but I thought, let me just go anyway. I obviously going to watch her, and I was just looking around, are they going to do it or not? And then in the end, they were like, you know, parents. And I didn't have any trainers on. I wasn't really in appropriate like footwear. And I did Princess Diana style. I took off my shoes. I took off my shoes. I stood at the start line. I had to look at my opposition to see. Let me see who I'm going to be. And I ran, and the parents were just like,
They all went out the way because you got rugby tackled.
They were just like, one of the teachers like, there's something about this girl, I need to go. And she went to go and research me, she found out I was a rugby player.
Did you get disqualified?
Yeah.
No, I didn't get disqualified. They were like, because my daughter's name is Karama. I was like, Karama's mum? Oh my goodness. And then
She must be well chuffed though, isn't it?
That's my mum.
So they were like, the little kids like, look, Karama's.
Does your daughter do that when you run in the parents' face?
My daughter's school don't allow us to do it. I'm like ready. I'm in trainers.
Really?
I'm ready in like convertible buyers and everything. But they don't do it. It's really sad. I waited so many years.
Yeah, but anyway, so they invited me to do a talk at the school because they found out and they went on Google and they were like, oh my God, we didn't know, like, you did all this. And so they were like, oh, you have to come and speak to the kids. And I was like, okay, so we're still waiting. But I think this year I'm going to come a bit more prepared with my trainers.
That's not fair, is it? Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
That's
But
fantastic.
my kids love it. I mean, like, I go and get my coat and my daughter's like, Mummy, are you going to play rugby? I'm like, no, I'm just going to go buy milk. She just assumes that every time I'm leaving the house, I'm going to do something rugby, but it's just general.
Are they quite sporty, your kids?
Yeah.
So my daughter, she said that she wants to be a rugby player like me. But when she's come to watch me and she sees like my teammates have got bloody nose or something, they're like, oh, Mummy, I'm not sure.
It's not for everyone.
Yeah, but they like swimming. Swimming is something that they enjoy, and I think it's good life skills isn't it, for them to have. So
Non-contact.
non-contact. And I think one rugby player in the household is enough.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up there. So thank you for listening. And online, thank you for watching the Empower Her Play podcast. Please do like, share and subscribe our channels. It's available on all podcast platforms where you would normally get your podcasts. So we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.